What's up, real Detroit Lions family? Andrew and I are here today to talk about something that's very important this offseason, something that a lot of people have been looking forward to, a lot of people have already commented on, and something that will be critical to our performance in 2020, and that is free agency. So free agency is coming up really fast. So me and Andrew wanted to come on here and tell you guys who our top picks for the Lions, for who we should be potentially looking at and targeting. All right. So without further ado, I'm just going to give a spoiler warning right now. There's no running backs on this list. I'm sorry, Mike. Derrick Henry is not on the list. All right. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. So I'm going to go with my guy. Andrew's going to go with his guy. We're going to go 3-3. And then at the end of this show, we will say who each of our favorite pick is and who we would want. All right. So the first person on the list today is somebody that has recently been talking about, has been recently talked about in the national media. He's a guy that is on the Houston Texans. A lot of people thought that he would be re-signed, and then recently it has come out that he might be a little too pricey for the Texans to re-sign, and that is nose tackle DJ Reader. So this is somebody that's been popping up on Bleacher Report, on all things Lions. A lot of Lions personalities are saying that this is a guy that the Lions should target, specifically because Snacks is no longer with the Lions. So we are without a defensive tackle really at all because Ashawn Robinson is also out the door. And DJ Reader is a guy that's, a borderline elite run stuffer. He's somebody that could come in and fill the shoes of Snacks Harrison. And one significant thing that he has that Snacks does not have is age. He's 25 years old. He's entering his prime. He's ending his rookie deal. And, this entire time on his rookie deal, he's been constantly improving. The Lions were in the near the bottom of the league when it comes to run defense because we were allowing opponents to run all over us. Almost every single opponent that we had ran for over 100 yards against us. It was honestly pitiful. We weren't able to control the timing of the game, the possession of the clock, and this also fills a big need. We have a huge need at defensive tackle right now. Like I said, with Ashawn gone, Snacks gone, and this is a guy that produces. Last year, he got 52 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 35 pressures. And that earned him a grade of 85.1 run defense grade, which made him one of the most highly regarded run stuffers in the NFL. So that's something to look at and something that you can see our team and how we played towards the end of 2018 and how we were hoping we would come into the season in 2019 with our defense, with that big guy up the middle that stuffs all the runs, and then hopefully Trey Flowers can bend the edge and get that pressure. That's what we're really hoping, and then our linebackers can do what they do, either dropping back into secondary like they were a lot, or maybe blitzing. But the fact of the matter is, we need a big defensive tackle right there in the middle, and this guy can fill that need, and he's in his prime. PFF named him the Texans' most improved player of 2019. He's a guy that the Texans aren't looking to re-sign because he's probably going to cost too much. So I really believe that he's a guy that the Lions should target. Andrew, what do you think about DJ Reader?
Yeah, I think it would be a great ad because when we had Snacks playing at a high level when he first came over at that nose tackle position, our whole defense was clicking. So if we could get a good nose tackle that can kind of fill that void that Snacks left this past year, I think that would be fantastic for our defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's probably the biggest need on our team right now. We need to do something at the defensive tackle position. And I think that if we do fill this in free agency with a guy like DJ Reader, we can kind of look to other areas on our team to improve via the draft. So I think it would give us putting a stout defender right there right at the beginning of free agency would be something that would just benefit us significantly, because we'd be able to know what we want to do going into the draft and not have so many holes that we're just like, oh, well, I don't even know what to do, because we have pretty much a hole at almost every position, especially on the defense. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Andrew. I think it's a big need, and that's a player that we can be targeting. So who do you got as your number 3 guy?
Well, first off, I got to say what up to the folks in the chat. So we got Funky Nuts. We got my man, MicroMike. We got Don19. We got John Kapler. We got Devin99. My boy, Detroit Drew. What up? And we got Randy Nathaniel and Dim Sum. What up? So first off, I want to start with the offensive line. I think our offensive line has been struggling for as long as I can remember, and I would love to help that out with a Joe Thuney. All right. My dude came in last year and only allowed 16 pressures on 693 attempts for pass protection. And that was pretty much a pass blocking grade of upper 80s. So he ranked 3rd overall at the position, which, I mean, we're having a hard time establishing our line. Stafford's constantly getting hurried. He's having to step up into the pocket too early or make a move or something, and it's causing problems for our passing game. And not only that, I'm a firm believer that the guards are very important for the run offense that we are trying to establish. We are trying to establish a between the tackles running game. And without good guards, that is not going to happen. So I think Thuney coming in and being able to help out the interior part of our line, especially with Glasgow going, would be fantastic. And then if we are able to move Frank Ragnow back over to guard, that would be even better, because then we have 2 elite guards. And yes, I'm saying Ragnow's elite because what he's doing so far in the league is really good. And that would help our run game significantly, because when Ragnow was over at left guard the year before last, I mean, Carry-On was averaging almost 6 yards a carry. The only big difference was that we moved him to center, and now he was averaging like 3.5 yards. So I think bringing in Joe would be fantastic. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Oh, man. First of all, we got to get the right pronunciation of his name, because
I know, dude. I don't know if it's Tooney or Thuney. Everyone says it differently, so I need to hear the announcer say it or something.
I know. It's either Tooney, Tunny, Thunny, Thooney. I don't know, man. But I'm calling him Joe. In preparation for this video, I looked up some YouTube videos. There was a Patriots fan, and he was calling him Tooney, so I'm gonna go with Tooney. Like, if the Patriots fans don't got it right, then we don't have to get it right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But no, I 100% agree with you. And I think there was one thing that you got a little mixed up on the stats, or maybe I'm mixed up. So you guys tell us in the chat. You said he's ranked 3rd among guards. So he's ranked 3rd, based on my research that I was seeing. He's ranked 3rd in pass coverage as a guard. Yeah, and all guards, just all out performance, he's ranked 5th in 2019, which is amazing. Still, somebody like that, it's rare that they come on to the open market like that. And with his Patriot ties, he's in his prime. He used to be an offensive tackle, and he converted to a guard coming into the league. So he has versatility. He's never missed a game. That is the biggest point that I see with this guy, man. Not missing a single game. Oh my God, that's what our O-line needs. It needs continuity, and it needs consistency, and that's what somebody like Tooney could bring to this team, and especially with us not re-signing Glasgow. I think guard is an extremely, extremely important position to fill. So I am 100% in line with you, Andrew. I think that this guy might be the most important free agent that we should target this year.
Okay.
With that being said, I'm going to go on to my next guy.
Sorry, I'm laughing because Funky Nuts keeps commenting about Joe Schobert, who we'll talk about in a little bit.
you want to touch on him for a second?
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty much what I'm hearing is, Joe Schobert and Corey Littleton are very similar in the fact that they both can play the pass game really well, but they both struggle in the run game. And yes, Schobert would be cheaper, but I like Corey Littleton more. And actually, Corey Littleton is my next person I was going to talk about, so I'll kind of just get into this. What's it called? So pretty much Corey Littleton is one of the top pass coverage linebackers. And as we all know, the Rams have a god-awful run defense. So, yes, they have Aaron Donald, who is my favorite defensive player in the league. But there's something functionally wrong with their defensive scheme that does not allow them to cover the run well. And I mean, it's been like that for a while. So I don't necessarily want to say it's Corey Littleton's lack of ability to cover the run or stop the run, but it's more of the scheme that they have going on. And Joe Schobert, he plays really well. And I mean, he's on the Browns, but you see what the NFC goes against. You know, the NFC goes against way tougher teams than the AFC. So in all honesty, I think with the tougher competition that Littleton is facing day in and day out, you know, throughout all those games, I would 100% take him and pay a little bit more just because he has, you know, Russell Wilson to deal with. You know, he has freaking George Kittle to deal with. You know, he's dealing with a lot of elite players in his division alone, you know, and I don't know. Sometimes you got to pay for a little bit more quality. So,
yeah. Well, I'll get into Corey Littleton as well, man. Corey Littleton, he's a beast. He had a 90.6 coverage grade. That's third highest right now out of all linebackers. He had 18 pass breakups and 6 interceptions. And this guy is 26 years old, entering his prime. I will break the bank for Corey Littleton. Dude, he's exactly what we need for Patricia's system. He's asking our linebackers to cover. This is exactly what we need. Somebody like Corey Littleton. You know, everybody's talking about bringing in Isaiah Simmons. The dream is that Isaiah Simmons can play like Corey Littleton's playing right now. Like, to be completely honest with you, you know, maybe he could bring more of a run defense and maybe a pass rush as well. But Corey Littleton's doing a lot of the things that we're hoping Isaiah Simmons can do. And oh my gosh, I think it would be amazing if the Lions can get somebody like that. Okay, but I'm going to go into my next guy because now you said two guys. So my next guy that I'm going to go into is also on the offensive line. Well, from your offense, this is a direct parallel to your guy from the offensive line when you said Joe Thuney. I'm going to go Jack Conklin, and a lot of people have him coming to the Lions. One of the big things is that he's a Spartan alumni. Go Green. That's what I'm talking about. No, but in all honesty, man, he came out of college and he was an outstanding rookie in 2016. He was the 5th highest graded offensive lineman in the entire league that year. And then, 2017, he had a little bit of 2018, he had a little bit of injuries, but he bounced back in 2019. He was ranked the 14th best offensive tackle. It's definitely a dip from where he was his rookie year, no doubt about it. But the fact of the matter is he's probably the best offensive tackle in free agency right now. He's in his prime, and he has, he's a Michigan native. So, those kind of guys, I think they're important to get because not a lot of guys are dying to come to Michigan, right? When you can go to LA or Miami or something like that. So when you have these kind of guys, even like a guy like when we got TJ Lang, he loved being on the team. He loved the Lions. Like those kind of things are important to me as a fan. And I think important to the organization as a whole. But I mean, besides all that, just talking about his performance, he's a beast, man. And this is exactly what we need. We have Rick Wagner on a contract, who is our current right tackle. But we have an out this year, and if we cut him, we'll only have $5.8 million in dead money. Otherwise, we're paying this guy $12 million a year, and he's 30 years old, and he's declining, and he's just not that good. And he's injured every single year. So do we want to stick with Rick Wagner or bite the bullet, take the $5.8 million in dead money, and pay probably overpay, but pay for a guy like Jack Conklin to come in here and boost that run game up, that O-line up? If we got him and Joe Thuney, oh my, this is a whole new offensive line we're talking about here. Him, Conklin, Ragnow, Decker's had some moments of greatness. Like let's not deny it. He's had a lot of bad things go his way. But he's had flashes of greatness. That's undeniable. And man, if we can shore up this offensive line, I think that our offense is going to be unstoppable. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. There's no way we're going to get Tony and Jack Conklin. So let's chill out a little bit. But Andrew, what do you think about Jack Conklin?
First up, I want to say what up to all the Noog folks in the chat. Thanks for following us and watching our video, and hope you like it. First off, I have a hard problem with grabbing free agents that we already have a starter at that position. So I'm not a big fan of Rick Wagner. Like you said, I think that he's digressed since we first got him. When we first got him, he was one of the top tackles in free agency. I was pretty hype about it. But I just don't like where he's heading. And so it's hard because I don't like taking dead money. That just sucks. So I like what Jack Conklin's doing. He's young. Like you said, he's a Michigan native. I think he's a beast. But I think the only way I would want him to come is if we were able to move Rick Wagner somehow. Because I don't want to take that dead money and screw us in cap space.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. It's $5.8 million. I'm not going to cry over it, but I see where you're going. But it's hard to it's hard to tell players and their agents, hey, why don't you just move? Why don't you just become a guard this year? And you know what I mean? So it's difficult for them to do that. And I think this goes into, some of the problems Richard Sherman has, where he keeps blabbing his mouth about the Lions because, he was offered more money to come here, but he knew that he'd be playing out of position. He didn't want to play a bunch of man coverage and, whatnot. So I think that plays into all, our defensive scheme. I mean, our schemes in general, so I'm not sure if that'd be a real viable option to just to get another tackle
and move,
and then get, yeah. But I'm with you. I mean, who wants to eat that dead money? But I don't know. So why don't you go into your last guy, Andrew?
So actually, I want you to say your last one because I know who you're going to say, and I want mine to follow up.
All right. Sounds good to me. My last guy that I am going to bring up today that I believe the Lions should absolutely target in free agency is the one, the only Byron Jones. So he's been talked about at length. We've talked about him on the round table. We've talked about him, on our show. I'm pretty sure in past episodes, we've heard about it on ESPN. Byron Jones is one of the biggest cornerback free agents on the market right now. Okay. So, we already know what's going on in our team right now. We let Rashawn Melvin walk, or, we haven't re-signed him yet, at least. Darius Slay looks like he wants out, whether this year or next year. And Amani Oruwariye is, ascending to become a great player, hopefully, right? But, and we also have, of course, Justin Coleman, who we backed up the truck and gave him all that money to be the highest paid slot corner in the league last year. So, a lot of people were wondering who are we going to get in free agency, or maybe we're going to draft a Kudo. What's going to happen with our cornerback spot? Maybe we're going to get Chris Harris because of his ties to Corey Underlin. I'm not a Chris Harris guy, man. He's played primarily in the slot, and that's where he's had most of his success. I don't think that he's going to be very successful on the outside, especially now as he keeps getting older and older, man. He's just not going to do it. So, Byron Jones, to me, is the guy to get for the other outside position for a lot of reasons. First of all, when it comes to single coverage, he was ranked 11th best in the league over the past 2 seasons. That's pretty significant because the Lions play primarily single man coverage. So if we continue on that trend and we're playing a lot of single man coverage, this is the only guy to get in free agency because he is the only one that is primarily a outside single coverage cornerback. And not just that. He spent 2 years at safety, so he's very versatile, which that Patricia and Quinn value above all. He's also 25 years old, so he's entering his peak. And he's been asked to cover tight ends in the past as well. And we know the tight ends in the NFC East.
Did you say he was 25? I thought he was 27.
You know what? Let's fact check that real quick. But if you're wrong, I'm going to kill you for fucking up my flow.
I'm pretty sure he's 27.
All right, we'll see right now.
All right. Also, while you're doing that, I'm gonna make
no.
Okay.
You're 100% right. He is 27. Okay, he is 27.
Don't question me, man. Don't question me.
You're right. So I appreciate you fucking up my flow. So okay, all right. But seriously though, 27. He's gonna sign a 4-year deal or something close to that. He's in his prime right now, so that doesn't bother me at all. 27 years old, fine. Okay. Fact of the matter is, he's played 2 years of safety. He's versatile. He's the 11th best single coverage for man coverage in the league over the past 2 seasons, and that's exactly what we need. He's a versatile guy. He's asked to, like I said, he's been asked to cover defenders like Evan Ingram, Zach Ertz in the division, stuff like that. And getting him gives the Lions a lot of options going into the rest of the offseason. Because listen, if we move Slay and we do draft Okudah, then it could be Jones and Okudah and Justin Coleman with Amani Oruwariye as the depth. That's an outstanding secondary just right off the bat. However, if we keep Slay, then you're talking about Jones and Slay and giving Amani Oruwariye at least 1 or 2 years to continue to develop, and then we could have Jones and Amani Oruwariye taken over as the top 2 guys. I think that'd be very important as well. And Slay, while a lot of people want to move him, if we don't get significant capital in return, I'm all for keeping him because he's fairly cheap this year. And even if we do franchise tag him, it's going to be like $16 to $18 million. That's what he's asking for right now, in a long-term guaranteed extension. So I'm more than willing to give Darius Slay, as he's playing right now, a 1-year, $18 million franchise tag. That's no problem with me. So I think that, getting Byron Jones gives us a lot of flexibility and a lot of options going into the rest of the offseason. Andrew, what do you say about Byron Jones and just our cornerback situation in general for the Lions?
Okay, so I'll touch on that cornerback thing right now. So I love Tracy Walker. I think Amani will be a little bit of an above-average cornerback coming into the season just because he's young. He's still inexperienced, but he showed lots of flash. So I'm very happy with where he's at. Justin Coleman, he's shown a lot of flashes, but he's also gotten burned a lot. So I need to see a little bit more. But we still have Darius Slay under contract. And I just saw this today. A fan tweeted Darius Slay saying, yo, just honor your contract and play the damn season and then get paid. And he was like, whoa, like, damn, like you mean, And I was dying laughing, but the fan was just coming at him. And he's like, well, I'm trying to get like my grandbabies set for life and this and that. And she's like, yo, you're a millionaire. Like, chill, bro. Just honor your contract and play the year and then go from there and go get paid. And then it kind of ended. And I love that. It was some lady, I'm like, dude, I love you because that's exactly what should happen. Like we have you under contract, play the freaking year. And then from there, I'd be fine with franchise tagging him for 1 more year, depending on if we actually are making a push towards a contender, and if we're not, then, he's got to go. You got to rebuild a little bit. But I think our cornerback room isn't as bad as people think. I'm all about establishing a pass rush, and then that benefits the back end of the field. So I would love to bring in a good cornerback, whether it's through the draft, at the right pick. Let me emphasize that, at the right pick, or through free agency. And Byron Jones is a good cornerback, but he doesn't have as good of a track record as most think. Like he sucked at safety. He was not a good safety by any means. And he just had a fantastic year this past year. And the year before that was a little bit above average, and then the rest was crap. So when I'm looking at it and I'm looking at his stats and how he plays, yeah, he can keep up with wide receivers, and he, has some pass breakups, and he's a good man coverage cornerback. But the dude doesn't get his hands on the ball. But you know who does get their hands on the ball? My next person that I'm about to bring up in a second. But overall, I think we do need to address the cornerback position because of our scheme. If we chose a different scheme or change it with the new defensive coordinator, and I know Patricia's probably going to run the defense, but if we do change it to less man coverage, then I'm fine with where we're at. But if we keep it and we stay at man, I would be fine with bringing Byron Jones in. So I'm just going to get into my next guy. My next guy is Yannick Ngakoue. Okay. So first off, my dude's a DN for Jacksonville, for those of you that don't know him. And second off, he has just as many picks as Byron Jones. Okay. Let me say that one more time. My defensive end has just as many interceptions as Byron Jones. So the dude is a phenom. I mean, the lowest sacks he's had coming into I can't talk. The lowest amount of sacks he's had in a given season was 8. So he's pretty much, I think he's at 36.5 sacks over 4 years or 5 years. And so he's averaging like 9 sacks a year. I mean, the dude is a beast. And I know Seth Brown just said Yannick got tagged, but he does not want to play for Jacksonville. He has said it straight up. I don't want to play for Jacksonville. And I think that they'll try and move him. And with what happened with the whole AJ Abuaye thing, I would not be surprised if he did get traded out. So establishing another defensive end on our team would be fantastic. And especially because I think that we should play more 4-3 than 3-4, given our team and our weakness at linebacker. I would love to have Ngakoue.
Yeah, so I'm with you. And there's a lot of people in the chat saying he got tagged, and he hasn't been tagged yet, at least to my knowledge. But yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars has expressed that they want to tag him. So I mean, I would love to get somebody like Ngakoue. We need help on the pass rush. We really do. But my issue here is that with our scheme right now, we don't run a 4-3. What position is he playing? Is he going to play? Are we going to move Trey Flowers and he's going to play the Trey Flowers position, or are we going to move Devin Kennard? Because it's not like he's not that great on run defense. So if we move Kennard, we're going to have liability on the run. But I do agree there needs to be a change. So if he doesn't get tagged for whatever reason and we got him, I'd be ecstatic. Just honestly, any of these guys that we're naming right now, if we got any of them, they're boosting the talent on our team. Mm-hmm. They're making our team better in one way or another. And it's up to the coaches to really capitalize on the potential that these guys might bring to the team and capitalize on each of their strengths and weaknesses. So hopefully we can, get somebody like Ngakoue or somebody else that can like bolster our pass rush, because we need it so dang badly. But I don't know. It seems like he's going to be tagged, but with him saying that he doesn't want to stay with Jacksonville, I don't know why they would tag him. They already traded a bunch of their players. This seems like they're tanking. Why would they tag him? Unless to tag and trade and then eat the tag. I don't know what they would be doing, but if we can get a guy like that, I'm definitely down for it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It doesn't make the most sense to tag a player when you are trying to rebuild. And especially because he's open about that he doesn't want to stay there, which diminishes any trade value that you do have there. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a guy that he's been in the league for 4 seasons. In 4 seasons, he's gotten 38.5 sacks. That's out of control, man. That's incredible. And I believe this guy's 25, unless you want to say he's 27. But I think that
dude, I actually think he's 24, but I'm not gonna go there. He's really young. I think he turns 25 at the end of the month, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, regardless, man, he's in his prime. He's a beast pass rusher, and that's what we need, man. So I don't know. I honestly don't know if he's a viable option to get and target this free agency. But if he's available, man, go for it.
Yeah.
So, all right, we've been on for half an hour now. So now we are going to tell you who our number one picks are. These 3 picks that we each gave, so 6 overall, we gave, Byron Jones, Joe Tunney, Jack Conklin, Yannick Ngakoue, Corey Littleton, DJ Reader. All of these guys would be excellent for our team. And I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but we'd both want all of them if we could get them, right?
Well, yeah,
so
dude.
We're each going to
that's how the cap works.
Yeah. We're each going to pick our number one guy if we could just get him, make a genie wish to get him. Who would you get, Andrew?
Okay, it's very hard. It's very hard for me, but I am going to say Joe Thuney. And only because if we were to establish our offensive line through free agency, that allows us to not have to deal with that in the draft and spend a high draft pick on offensive linemen, which I would not be surprised by any means if we did, considering we have in like 2 of the last 4 seasons. So I would love to get Joe Thuney, have him. And then so when it comes to the draft, we can focus on the defensive side of the ball, because not only are defensive players more expensive, but they'll also be younger, they'll be faster, they'll be hungry. And I think that just overall would be fantastic.
You took my guy, bro. I really want Thuney so bad. And, specifically because he hasn't missed a game. If we can get that kind of consistency and continuity on our offensive line, I just think, oh my God, I just think that's the most valuable of all the stats that we've read today, is that he has played every single game and he's improving every single year. This guy is somebody that he's the 5th ranked guard in 2019. Like, this would be a dream pick, but I'm not going to pick him since you picked him. I'm sorry. I just went into him a little bit, but I'm not going to pick him.
Yeah, don't jump on my bandwagon, dude.
No. The guy I'm picking is Byron Jones. I think that if we can secure that outside cornerback position, that gives us so much area to move for the rest of this offseason. I think that gives us so much flexibility, whether we want to draft Okudah and move Slay, or if we want to keep Slay and get Simmons or something like that, or get somebody else. I think that would be just unbelievable if we got somebody like Byron Jones, who, like I said before, is the 11th best single man coverage cornerback in the past 2 seasons. I think that would be phenomenal. Pair him with Slay in our current scheme. That's what we need. And if Slay and him can both be healthy, I think the sky's the limit with our defense. And then that's hard to say coming off of a 3-win season, Yeah. But there's just so many different variables. It's easy to look at our season and the Detroit Lions' current performance and say, wow, what a garbage team. But
I have a major problem, though, with free agency this year, because I wouldn't be surprised if we went out and tried to replace Slay now. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and got Okudah. They're very big. If you look at the Patriots and how they've built their defense, the one commonality they have between every single year is that they always have an elite cornerback. So whether that's going to be in the draft or whether that's going to be in free agency is going to be interesting, because I don't think they want Slay long-term, just with all the stuff he's done and his age and injuries. So it's going to be interesting, because I guarantee you they're going to try and replace him. And I don't know if it's going to be Byron Jones or if they're going to go for Okudah and go that younger route, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see what ends up happening in this free agency and in the draft. This whole offseason, it's going to be crazy. We have so much capital. We have so much cap space. We have so much, we have so much draft capital with our pick this year. And we have so much unknown mystery going on with the CBA negotiations going on. We don't know how big the cap is going to raise. We don't know anything. And it's just incredible. to be right here in this situation as a Lions fan, because we have a possibility of going from one of the worst teams in the league to one of the best teams very fast. So that's what we want to see. Everybody in the chat, we want you to hit that like button. I appreciate it. It's just so humble. 30 people in the chat right now. 30 people in the chat. We literally went live because we're like, you know what? We'll go live. We don't know if anybody's going to actually watch. There's not a roundtable or anything like that. We don't know if anybody's going to be watching, but hey, it'll be posted later so they could watch it back. And to see here 30 people, 30 diehard real Detroit Lions fans coming out, supporting guys like us, supporting a team, and just wanting to know more and get all that, detail and insider information, just the facts, straight facts. It's great to see. And I can't wait to see what happens when we're in the playoffs and we're contending and how many people are going to show up then. All the fair weather fans, not the real Detroit Lions fans, the fair weather fans. We might have to change our name to just, fair weather Detroit Lions.
What, dude?
I don't know. But Andrew, you spelled button wrong, so I don't know. Dude,
I know. I was thinking about bottom or something. And, I just wrote both.
Hit that bottom.
Right. I mean, why not, right? But I want to make a comment about, so I've seen multiple people talk about Miles Jack. I cannot even explain to you how bad I wanted Miles Jack coming out of college.
Oh, yeah.
I was so big on the dude.
Oh, my God. When he fell. Oh.
And I was just pissed because every single year there's a player that falls to the second round that should have been like a top 5 pick, but something happens, whether it's some BS off the field or an injury or whatever, they always fall to the second round and do fantastic. So if Miles Jack is even potentially on the trading block or available, I would definitely go and get him because that dude is a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, there's listen, guys, I'm seeing a bunch of names in the chat. There's so many guys we missed. There's so many guys that are excellent in free agency that I would love to be on this team. We couldn't go on and give lists of 20. You guys would get bored to death, so.
I mean, I would take almost all of the free agents, most of them are pro bowlers.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's just literally, we have so many holes that we need to fill, and, I'm willing to take them all. But, okay. Before we start rambling about nonsense, just again, thank you guys for being in the chat. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the real Detroit Lions fans out there. If you're not currently subscribed, why don't you jump onto the channel, join the community. We're all real Detroit Lions fans here. Andrew, do you have anything last words to say in the chat?
So I'm wondering what Funky Nuts is talking about when he said board. Are you talking about a draft board?
No, I think you're saying like you guys would get bored. I said you guys would get bored if we had 10 people each, So Funky Nuts is like, I'm not bored. Funky Nuts, you're the man. You're gonna be with us, even if we had 100 guys each. So right. We appreciate you, but and we don't want to sit here all day either. 30 minutes is enough for this kind of video.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly it's time. If you guys have questions or ask, either of us something, go ahead and we'll try our best to answer it. And I see Dolo Dynamite. He said, what should we do with Davis? I personally was one of the first people to say that we should either move him to outside linebacker or try him at D end. And the reasoning that I want to move him to outside linebacker is because the dude cannot handle playing at the middle of the field. He doesn't have the vision. I don't think he's as smart. I know Luke would disagree, but I don't think he's as smart as people think he is. There's a lot of holes in his game, and I think if you're able to limit what he has to handle during the game, I think he would actually excel because he is very athletic. He's super quick, and he's super strong. And then if you put him at DN, that gives you like a Von Miller type hybrid player. I mean, I'm not saying he's a Von Miller, but he has the potential to rush the passer, but then also, drop back into coverage or something.
Yeah, I see, like, it's just hard for me to agree with that because, like, he's shown promise a lot of different times. And
it's been 4 years. I mean,
that doesn't matter.
It's working or it's not.
That does. Okay, you can say that Matt Stafford. You say the same thing with Matt Stafford. Yes, you can. You can say the same exact thing with Matt Stafford. It's not working. Why isn't it working? Especially his years with Jim Bob Cooter and Joe Lombardi. Why isn't it working? No, it's not. Look, there's all these different situations. We've had multiple coaches, multiple coaching changes while Davis has been here. He's been injured. Look, the end of 2018, he showed his most promise, in my opinion. And he was in the middle of the field. He was handling, calling the defensive plays. He was the quarterback of the defense. Everybody talked about how excellent he was as a leader and how much all the young players looked up to him. And he has the physical ability to do it all. Okay. I'm not willing to give up on him at all. I'm definitely all about, giving him a 5th-year option and re-signing him. And I think that if we don't re-sign him, he's going to go to another team and be an all-pro player.
Okay. So I see Dillo Dynamite also said AJ going to fall to 2nd. I mean, the dude was ranked as like the number 2 defensive end coming into the combine, and now he's dropped down board significantly. I personally would not mind grabbing AJ in the 2nd, only because he's shown a lot of flash in his film. So his combine wasn't fantastic by any means, but his film has enough to where I wouldn't mind drafting him with a 2nd round pick. What do you think?
No, yeah, 100%. If AJ Espinanza falls, man, oh man, yeah, we're grabbing him, or at least I want to grab him. I don't know who we're gonna grab, but
right.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Okay, we got John talking about if after 3 years, if Flowers is not playing at a high level, would we cut him?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to answer. I'm going to say why. Because this is how his contract's currently structured. Okay. 2019, we paid him $6.5 million. This year, we're paying him $16.7 million. 2021, we're going to pay him $20 million. And then the next 2 years, we're going to pay him $23 and $24 million, respectively. Okay. After 2021, there's an out to get rid of him with only $11 million in dead money. So, I mean, $11 million, and that would save you. That would save you like $35 million in his contract. So, like, if he's not playing up to standard, yeah, I 100% would cut him. And especially if this team doesn't win and we're looking at a rebuild and we're looking at Patricia being gone potentially, yeah, I 100% would cut him. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of dead money potentially, but I think with him, I'm not too worried. I mean, the dude has so much heart and he really is a competitor. Yeah, he started off really slow to begin the year, but he shined towards the end of the year. And that was with how bad our defense is and no help on the inside to take any pressure off him when he was pass rushing. But yeah, I think I would have to take that cap hit for sure.
Yeah, but he was improved. He was injured, right? So he was improving throughout the year. Towards the end of the year, he was playing pretty dang good football. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, if he's not performing, of course you cut him. I know that $11 million is a big number. Like, oh, we're going to have $11 million in dead money. But that's nothing. That's nothing compared to having $50 million tied into him for 2 years if he's not performing. So, like, I'm all for cutting him if that's the case. All right. Mastodon B more still Ananda. I don't know if I messed up your name. What running back we drafting? Look, man, we're not the right people to ask for this because me and Andrew are of the belief that we don't want to spend at least I am. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. We don't want to spend significant capital this offseason on a running back. I believe, okay, that the running game is being held back by our abysmal offensive line. We need to improve our offensive line. There's that statistic that I throw out every single round table, and it's like the Lions are the worst in the league at rush yard before contact. And that means that our offensive line is being penetrated really fast and it being exploded right off the snap. And those defensive linemen are in the backfield already, like immediately. So it's our offensive line we need to use our capital improving, not our running backs. We have serviceable running backs, and you see time and time again in the league that undrafted running backs become stars and other guys become stars. And it seems like the more you invest in running backs, whether it be Todd Gurley or whoever it is, it seems like that doesn't work out in the long term because you're putting too much capital into that positional group when you should be using it towards more important positions. Do you have anything to add to that, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with the offensive line thing. I've gone into depth about this. If you don't have a good offensive line, I don't care what running back you have back there. I mean, you look at what Saquon did. He struggled for a while this past season because their O-line was pathetic. You look at Dallas, who they've had the most dominant offensive line the past decade, and they had an off year, and Zeke was struggling, And as far as drafting a running back, like in the second round or something, if you really look at how many starting running backs in the league right now, most of them are drafted in the past couple of years. So that just goes to show you that running backs are being produced more frequently. I mean, Nick Chubb, you have Josh Jacobs, you have Dalvin Cook, you have Sony Michel, you have so many of these running backs that are coming out of the league and they're doing well right off the bat. So I don't think we need to invest a high pick in them, because if we have a bad year this year, let me tell you, we're probably going to draft a running back next year. And I don't think our running backs are awful by any means. I think that, like you said, we're not getting any help from our offensive line. So our running backs are forced to try and make a move and pick up extra yards on their own, so they don't have the opportunity to get 3 yards down the field before contact or something.
Yeah.
And then also, I was just saying also, like, if you really want a good running back that's proven himself, go get Jordan Howard. The guy's going to come for cheap. He's an established running back for multiple teams, and he's a bruiser, which fits Darrell Bevel's offensive scheme. So I don't think drafting a running back with any of our high picks by any means would be, necessary.
Yeah, and like, take a look at guys that are producing. A lot of times our offensive line is stacked, and look at guys that leave that. Like, I'll point to DeMarco Murray when he had, he was the rushing leader one year. He leaves the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. He has to retire the next year. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens. Or Le'Veon Bell right now. He's on the Jets. He's still good. Like, he has the talent. It's not like his talent's gone. It's just that he doesn't have that scheme, that offensive line. It all factors in. It's so rare to find a running back like Barry Sanders or something that can just do it all. Doesn't matter about the offensive line. I'm going to put the team on my back and go. So I'm not about using capital trying to find that guy when it seems more successful more often than not to improve your scheme and improve your offensive line to improve your run game.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, if I was to take anything offensively in this draft, it's 100% going to be an offensive lineman over a skilled player.
Right.
Anyways, I see another comment talking about the defensive tackle from Bama, Raekwon Davis. What do you think, Dylan?
I'm trying to find that comment.
Oh, it's a little bit high up because they've had a lot of comments since last question we took. But pretty much, I like Raekwon Davis. I mean, Bama players in general on the defensive side of the ball, they typically transition a lot better because, they play at a tougher conference. And I think Raekwon, with his size, I mean, even if he's not as athletic as others, the dude is freaking massive. I mean, he's a big man. So I would love to have him if we can get him.
Yeah. I was reading like a Bleacher Report article about this guy, and we need a defensive tackle. We definitely need one. So of course I'm definitely wanting anybody from Alabama. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I haven't seen film on him or anything like that, so I don't want to give anything, some ridiculous information if I'm wrong. Let's try and find something.
So I know Mastodon is saying that we had the 11th ranked offensive line by Pro Football Focus. So I get rankings, but rankings are pretty much someone saying that this is where they think we're at. If you watch the games and you watch how poor our run offenses, it's because of our O-line. Most of the time we were getting stuffed at the line. And then in pass protection, Stafford is constantly running around in the pocket because our O-line is not protecting him well enough. So I think 11 is way too high.
Yeah, I mean, that's very surprising. I never heard that. But thanks for throwing that out there. And listen, man, what you're suggesting, there's a lot of people that are on your same mindset. They want to either draft or get somebody in free agency, a big name running back. Look, that's not a wrong opinion. It's just a different opinion than us. Like bring it up on the round table. You're going to get like 5 different opinions, and a bunch of them are going to agree with you. So we're not saying you're wrong or anything like that. It's just, to me, it's the O-line's not there. It needs to get there.
Yeah. So I'm seeing some people starting to talk about Gallimore. I personally love Gallimore. The problem is that he is 100% going in the first round. I doubt he would make it past like pick 20. So the only way we're getting him on top of another pick is that if we were to trade back with like Miami or someone and get their 5th overall pick and like the 18th, I believe is their second one. So I don't think Gallimore is, an option unless we take him with our first pick or if we trade it back.
Yeah, but I would love if he was there in our second pick. So, there's always guys that fall, so hopefully he does, or Javon Kinlaw, something, maybe some gas mask bong pictures come up on him, and, he slips into the second round.
And then get traded for 2 freaking first round picks.
Yeah, but like, let's be honest, Lions wouldn't pick him because they want those church boys. They want like the most upstanding citizens to ever grace the league. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think that the Lions would even draft him if that kind of stuff happened. But yeah, all right. So that seems to be all the questions in the chat. Thank you guys so much. It's been almost an hour on here. We're gonna probably jump on to the roundtable tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna be on Luke G's or MicroMike's, one of them. But listen, in the description, there's all the links to the guys in the DSA. We are a community, and you guys already know this, but I gotta say it. Listen, just subscribe to everybody. Subscribe to everybody in the DSA. We switch around, especially that the new guy, Jim Bordeaux. He's the newest guy of the DSA, and he's gonna be hosting some roundtables as well as us, as well as Luke G, and as well as MicroMike. Also, why don't you guys, leave in the comments, what do you guys think about this kind of format for our videos? Do you like that we're going live, kind of like the same format as the round tables, and, talking to you guys in the chat? Because we love it. If you guys keep showing up like this, 30 people consistently in the chat, this is amazing, So, please let us know. Or do you like those short, edited, compact videos? It's cool with us either way. We want to do what's best for you guys in the community. Maybe we'll do a split. Some of those other ones, who knows? But once it comes time to the season, we kind of got to figure out what we're going to do. So, it's an iterative process. So let's talk about it. All right, Andrew, you got any last words?
I actually want to touch bases on something too. So me and Real, we play fantasy. Almost all of you guys probably play fantasy, if you're a big football fan. And we both are really good at fantasy football. We've won a lot of championships. We've gone to a lot of championships. And if you think that you would like us to talk about fantasy football this upcoming season, let us know. I want a little bit of feedback. Let us know if it's worth it. And yeah.
All right, guys. With that said, I'm going to steal a page from MicroMike. Adios.